If the elections were to be held today in Nigeria, trust me, most free-willed and free-thinking Nigerians will vote for Omoyele Sowore because he doesn't play games. You know, he says what he means and he means what he says. Think about it. If Nigeria were to get better, we need people that speak truth to power. People that are very consistent and not wishy-washy. Just want to appreciate Omoyele Sowore for being a stalwart in the activism and advocacy business. He's perhaps the most consistent freedom fighter that we have in Nigeria. He's always been very straightforward. He's unlike the average politician, so we give him kudos to that. Over the years, he's been very consistent with his demand for the freedom of Mazị Nnamdị Kanụ. Not to demonize anybody, but most of the Southeast so-called politicians, most of the politicians in Nigeria in general, have very much shied away from the fact that Mazị Nnamdị Kanụ was supposed to have regained freedom. You know, he wasn't even supposed to have been arrested in the first place. Because regardless of your emotions over whatever he was alleged to have done or not to have done, legally, when you talk about the legalities of it all, he's free. It's been proven that he's not guilty several times, but the Nigerian state and the systems had found ways to try to hold him back. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy, you know? The same people holding him down are the same people that try to pride themselves with the fact that they're all about due process. They follow the rules of the game and all that. But when it comes to this, they have selective amnesia as to who they really think they are. So let's we're challenging all the so-called freedom-loving politicians in Nigeria to come out now. You know, let's at least, if you're not really going to come out in person and demand, at least let it be on record where you stand on the issue of Mazị Nnamdị Kanụ. You know, regardless of your feelings, regardless of your emotions, legally speaking, he's supposed to have been a free man. So let's get all these politicians on record as to where they stand on this case. Abaribe, we know, Peter Obi, all these people, but Omoyele Sowore is challenging them all now to come out and, you know, physically go for a match. It's okay to talk about it sparingly, but you have to be more consistent for it to yield, you know, fruit. Omoyele is telling all those politicians to come together, and he will lead a match to Aso Rock, demanding for the release of Mazị Nnamdị Kanụ. So he's challenging them to come out and join him. So let's see how many of them will take that challenge, all right? I know some of them will say, oh, it's a political gambit, it's a political game, or maybe it's a political trap. And they say they're not going to bite. Now, you must bite. We need to know where you all stand, especially on this matter. All right? Once again, free Mazị Nnamdị Kanụ. Thank you, Omoyele Sowore, for being very consistent. If the elections were to be held today in Nigeria, trust me, most free-willed and free-thinking Nigerians will vote for Omoyele Sowore because he doesn't play games. You know, he says what he means and he means what he says. Think about it. If Nigeria were to get better, we need people that speak truth to power. People that are very consistent and not wishy-washy. Shout out Omoyele Sowore. Free Mazị Nnamdị Kanụ.
Media Pinnacle Entertainment. Derema. Mo'Fire. Fuka fuka fuka.